Welcome to In Tune. I'm your co-host, Matt Rector, an aspiring luthier from Baltimore, Maryland.
And I'm your other co-host, Ethan Morset, a music producer and founder of Blue Haven Music based in Minnesota.
Our goal is to provide value to enterprising musicians, artists, and craftspeople by sharing our conversations and the lessons we've learned along the way.
If you like our content, help us out by following us and giving us a positive rating on whatever platform you listen to podcasts. Tune in for new episodes on the first and third Wednesday of each month.
One, two, three.
April Fools! I'll figure out how to time it up.
Okay, all right. This is episode 45. We're back, and we're never quitting.
Never gonna stop.
Never
till we
give,
drop. We're never
gonna give
drop.
you up.
Yeah, we will never give you up. Chris, Tim, and our two moms.
We can't stop, and we won't stop.
Never gonna quit.
Yeah, so anyway, hopefully none of you were too concerned with yesterday's episode for April Fools. Rest assured, Ethan and I are in fact still friends.
Yes.
Although, you know, some of the insults I said about him, though, in the last episode, those are true.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of truth in the humor, you know? I get it. It doesn't hurt at all.
No,
I'm totally fine. Now that I know that you were partially true about that.
no, we joke. Anyway, this is episode 45, and we actually, I mean, yes, besides the joke episode, we haven't really recorded for a little bit, and that's because we've both been pretty busy with different stuff going on. We both have some pretty exciting updates, and so this is going to be a little update episode to let you know what is going on in the lives of Ethan and Matt. What's going on with Blue Haven Music and what's going on with Rector Guitars. Ethan, what's up?
So am I giving the update on Blue Haven Music or Rector Guitars? I'm unclear.
I would say definitely Rector Guitars.
Okay, so Rector Guitars, it turns out that there were some issues with the logo, and someone claimed a trademark violation on the Rector Guitars name, and so we had to dissolve the business. Okay, sorry. I know. Okay, some of you have asked, why is Ethan always drinking on the podcast? Yes, I've had a little bit of alcohol today. It's fine. It's fine. I wanted to address that. Anyway, all kidding aside, Blue Haven Music. Let's get to Blue Haven Music. Things with Blue Haven Music are going good. I have been, man, it's hard to even remember what we were talking about last time. Our last episode was on February 19th, so that was when it was published, not when it was recorded.
Means we probably recorded it in January.
Yeah, so it's like been a good solid like month and a half. I'd say I've been writing a lot more music. My goals are a lot more aggressive for 2025. I have figured out strategies to make them more achievable and not have myself be completely stressed out. Right now, my goal is 40 songs a year within this year. I'm at 5 songs a month right now, so I'm at 10 songs. So I'm actually ahead of my goal, which is crazy because it seems like a crazy goal. I'm outputting 5 songs per month. So I'm outputting a song a little less than a week for each song, which is
That's really fast.
while working a full-time job. So I figured out some strategies that help with that. That's been going great. And it seems silly that I'm bringing this up, but I did taxes this year, and I didn't do them last year or the year before that. I got in trouble with the IRS, so I did them this year. Um,
Wait, are you serious?
no, I'm just joking.
I mean, I know. Okay, I know that you. I think you filed with like your taxes for the first time as like an LLC, though, right?
Uh, Not as an LLC, but as a business, yeah.
Okay.
I'm technically a sole proprietorship, not an LLC.
What is the
Um,
difference?
I yeah, LLC is there's some protections associated with it that maybe I don't know if a sole proprietorship gets. Usually freelancers, I believe, are usually sole proprietorships. LLCs are more like I'm not even gonna try, but like I know that like a lot of freelancers just do the sole proprietorship.
Hmm.
Um, LLC has some kind of like protection in it, like because it's limited liability corporation, right? So like your liability is limited to a certain extent. Beyond that, I don't really know. But I do know somebody who has an LLC, so I could ask them at some point.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, uh, I did. I basically claimed business expenses on my taxes this year, so you can reduce your taxable income essentially by claiming business expenses.
And this is the
Um,
first time you'd ever done that
and it's
before,
the
right?
first time I've ever done it. Even though I've been doing this with the intent of starting a business the whole time, um, or running a business, depending on how you spin it. But I I claim business expenses for the first time. I probably could have done it last year and the year before that, but I didn't. Um, and I'm not going to go and revise my taxes at this point.
I'm curious because honestly, sorry, I'm interrupting you, but
No, no, go for it.
I'm curious because I feel like maybe that's something I could be doing. So
I'm
what why are you say like why did you say you feel like you could have last year? Like what makes you like qualified to do that?
um I am not going to give you expert advice because I am not an expert, but I will tell you what
Yeah,
I
disclaimer, neither of us are tax accountants.
yeah.
So
Although I did meet with a tax accountant about my taxes. Uh so um at least with Minnesota, like I don't need to register like license my business or anything. Apparently that's dependent on the state, so Maryland might have a different requirement. I don't know. But as far as federal goes, basically, like the way that I've gathered it is A, the IRS wants, or the federal government wants to support businesses increasing their growth by not taxing their income, as long as the intent of that is to grow a business and not to like just reduce your taxable income just cuz, right? Um, with that in mind, there is a lot of wiggle room on what they will allow. Um, from
kind of a little bit open for interpretation.
yeah, like not you don't need to have anything officially registered with like the IR with like the federal government to be doing this that I'm aware of, and I again am not a tax professional. Um, Anyway, I'm pretty sure you could be doing this, Matt, for this year's taxes if you wanted to. What you do need is you need to know what you spent, and you need to have a spreadsheet of it so that, which you can do by looking back at your past receipts and putting them in a spreadsheet and knowing what you spent that year, right? Um, but because your intent is this is a business, not a hobby. Um, what I have been communicated is the IRS will, if you have, you do not need to make a profit. Um, you do not even need to claim income if you haven't made any income. However, um, if you do claim income, you need to, for the IRS to not classify it as a hobby after 5 years, over a 5 consecutive year period, you need to claim income and not a profit, some kind of income, 2 of those 5 years, is what I've been told. Again, not professional tax help. But even if you didn't make a profit this year, even if you didn't make any income at all from your business, you can still claim business expenses to reduce your taxable income, um, as long as your intent for buying the things that you bought were for your business, which they are, right? Like every hand plane you bought, you know, every
Well, I wouldn't say everyone.
every other like every the signing up for the well, I guess that was technically this year, but like if you had signed up for the apprentice or the work the class that you signed up for, if there's a fee associated with that, you could attribute that to business expenses, etc. um Man, I feel like I'm disclosing way too much because like people have to be careful about this, but like obviously this is just my experience, that's it. um so I think you could be. You might still want to meet with a tax professional to verify after you filled out your taxes. And state taxes I can't speak at all for because I'm not in Maryland.
Yeah, sure.
Um, but I'm guessing you probably could, at least for federal. I got a decent amount of money back, dude. Like it was worth it for sure. Um,
Mm.
and it's like it's done. Like I've gotten my refund and everything. Um, so that was a big thing. I'm not gonna say the exact amount because that would be goofy for me to do. But I got a good amount back, and I'm going to hit my goal of like saving much sooner than I expected. In fact,
Well, I thought
technically,
you already did.
yeah, I hit my like first goal. I had a second goal I set because I'm nervous about quitting. Um but my second goal was I originally wasn't going to hit it until May. Now I'm going to hit it by this Friday because of the refund I got. Um so I'm pretty stoked about that. Um, wow, we spent way too much time on taxes, but yeah, like after off camera, we can talk about it more if you want. But anyway, um, the other stuff that's been going on, um, I already talked about writing a lot of songs. I talked about taxes. I talked about by Friday I've crossed my threshold for saving. Although I will still probably work till May just cuz it's just more in the bank. Um I guess the last major thing that I can think of right now is Matt already knows about this, so this is no surprise to him, but I'm going to pretend that he doesn't know about it. I got an email yesterday from somebody who wants to sign one of my songs to their music library.
Ooh.
I know. I'm so stoked about it because it's like it's so close to actually having my song be on TV. Uh,
A big deal.
so basically, this person that reached out to me, they were one of the people that listed the taxi brief that I submitted to, and my song got forwarded to them. So they got my contact information, and emailed me yesterday. And the funny thing is, this song got forwarded like 8 months ago, you know,
Mm.
and they're just now contacting me, um, which is fine. Like, but it's just funny how delayed it is. Uh, But anyway, I was really excited when I heard that because like I've never had this happen before. So this is like pretty close to like I might actually make some like legit money from this, and like uh not like a lot, but like money from my music, right? Somebody wants to sign my track. And the other cool thing is that apparently like this playlist he's putting together, so it's a curated list.
Hmm.
Um and this playlist that he's putting together is going to be like available for like Fox Sports and other sports networks like that, to use for like live, I'm assuming like live sports like broadcasts and stuff like that. I'm guessing more maybe local sports, but I'm not really sure. But just the fact that like it's going, this album or this playlist will be seen, and people from Fox Sports can pick it and put it on stuff is just really cool to me. You know, by no means is it the biggest placement ever. It's not. It's definitely not. But it's just cool. Uh,
Yeah, it's a big deal for
and
you for sure.
um, the other cool thing about it is what I've been told is that um, a lot of these types of things where you get like a song signed with a library, right? Um, those library owners, if they like working with you and they know that you've written music like this in the past, they will start coming to you directly rather than going through like something like Taxi. So this has potentially opened me up to more opportunities than I would have otherwise had directly with a music library owner. And this person owns multiple music libraries. Um, so it's just kind of cool. I have no idea where it'll go, or even if my song will ever get placed on TV, but it is so close to being there, you know. Um, so I'm excited about it because it's a step that I've never been able to take yet, and I'm gonna get to take it. And um, yeah, I'm excited about it. The only thing I have to do left is figure out how to get everything filled out on the contract correctly. I had to fill out some other documents. Um, and then I do have to re-record part of my song, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because I recorded it in 44.1 kilohertz, which is a sample rate. I don't know if you're familiar with sample rate and like what that means. Basically, um, it's like like screen resolution.
Hmm.
Sample rate is like screen resolution for music. Like the higher the number, the more snapshots of the
Like the
like
frame rate,
the
basically.
yeah, it's like the frame rate but for audio. Um and I recorded it at 44.1 kilohertz, which is basically the industry standard that any CD you listen to, all that stuff, it's always going to be 44.1. I bet you a bunch of the stuff on Spotify you stream is 44.1 kilohertz. Well, I have recently learned that the licensing industry, the new standard is 48 kilohertz because if you record at 48 kilohertz, you can downsample to 44.1 kilohertz. But you
Mm.
can't upsample, like upscale to 48, very similar to like if you were to like try to upscale like a 2K resolution to a 4K resolution, like it just wouldn't be as good as actual 4K.
Hmm.
Um so I need to re-record some of the audio tracks on the song up to 48, which is not a big deal. I have till Monday to do it. Um, but that's the only other thing with that. But yeah, super excited about that. Again, it's who knows where it'll lead, right? Like, hopefully it'll get placed in something and I'll be able to actually get some money from my music after like 5 years of doing this.
I mean, I think 5 years is, starting from nothing without really any funding, without having, your sole proprietorship set up, any money like really saved up for this, like anything like that. I think that's like a pretty reasonable time frame,
Hmm.
Um, we live in a instant gratification society, but like
Yep.
I think that that's reasonable. So like, and I think that's actually probably really good, honestly. Um, this, knock on wood, right? This could be like a breakthrough for you. Maybe it makes it on TV, maybe it doesn't. Even if it doesn't, maybe you get opportunities to network with some people, um, and that could lead to other things. But that's definitely like a big deal. So
Hmm.
it's kind of one of those things that it's like the snowball effect, right?
Yep.
So
And
um,
that's kind of what you're the networking part of it is kind of the snowball effect, right? Because like the more people that know who you are and know what you're good at, the more that they can communicate that to other people that they know. And so yeah, like maybe this never gets put on TV, but if this person that I'm working with likes working with me and thinks I output good music, they might ask me for more stuff, or they might refer me to other people because they know somebody else who is looking for something that I'm good at writing, you know. Um
mhm.
so it is I'm constantly told the music business is a small business. Like pretty much like once you get in the business, everybody knows everybody who's anybody, you know, at least as far as like the players, like the owners of record labels and music libraries and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So could be good. We will see.
Best of luck to you on that front. It's
Thank you,
exciting
sir.
stuff.
Thank you, sir. All right. That's all I got. Let's talk about Rector guitars. What you got going
Well,
on?
Ethan's gonna become a superstar, and there's nothing exciting about what I'm doing. So I think that's it for this episode.
Yeah, right. You're probably gonna one up me here.
Why do you say that?
You have more things to talk about than I do.
I do actually. I do have some exciting things to talk about. So excuse me while I one up Ethan here. Um, no. Uh, I guess. Well, okay. So a few different things. On a few different kind of fronts, if you will. So in my professional life with my, not Rector Guitars, like my 9 to 5 job, I recently got a pretty big promotion. So I'm pretty excited about that. Um, that's not really what this podcast is about. This podcast is more about, the guitar building and woodworking and that sort of thing. But I am excited about this new opportunity, and I think it could help me in the future. Basically, I'm going to be doing more e-com stuff for the jewelry business that I'm a part of. Um, and yeah, but that experience I think could be very helpful in the future when I'm trying to grow my own business online. So we'll see where that takes us.
Matt is a big shot now.
No, I'm still, well, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a big shot, but anyway, that's kind of what's going on in my work life. In my sort of woodworking related things, so a couple things. Um, I've talked about it, I think, on the podcast before, but I am part of a community makerspace. It's a nonprofit organization, and last year I was the vice president, and then this upcoming year, we had our big annual meeting that we have once a year, and I was just voted in on Sunday. Yeah, on Sunday as the president. So
So
I'm excited.
you're kind of like Joe Biden.
I would not say I'm like Joe Biden.
Well, okay, but hear me out. Joe Biden was vice president and then he became president. So that's kind of like you.
That's true. That's
I
true.
mean, you're not like you don't have white hair, and you don't have this like blank stare about you, but like otherwise, like you're kind of like him in that regard,
Hmm.
just that regard.
Politics is a murky subject to wade into.
I'm talking about an individual, not politics.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess in that way, yes. I am the Joe Biden of my makerspace.
There you go. I like it.
Um, so that's exciting. Um, and then the other thing that I'm really excited about, it's not exactly guitar related. Um, and truthfully, I think for the last year or so, I've been pretty focused on just not only improving my skill as a luthier, but just improving my skill as a woodworker in general. Um, so I signed up for the Mortise and Tenon magazine apprenticeship program. And this is something I've been wanting to do for years now.
Hmm.
But for whatever reason, there was always like I either didn't have the money, I couldn't afford it. Um, Last year, I was going to have surgery around the time that the program was running, and I knew I was going to be recovering, so I just knew that that wasn't really going to be an option last year. This year, the stars kind of finally aligned, and I was able to enroll, and I'm really excited about it. So it's an 8-week program. It runs from late March until like late May. So it's about 2 months. Um, and it's entirely like a hand tool. For anyone who listens, Mortise and Tenon magazine, they are a publication that is focused on hand tool woodworking and historic woodworking, historic furniture making.
Hmm.
Um, so it's an entirely hand tool focused apprenticeship program, and yeah, I'm just excited to do that. And I do think for me, one of the reasons I wanted to take this program is I see a lot of luthiers who make guitars, right?
Hmm.
Well, okay, that's obvious. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is I
They
see
could
a
make
lot of,
lutes.
yeah, well, I see a lot of luthiers who use a lot of machines to make their guitars, and I want to point out that I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that. But one way that I would maybe like to differentiate myself is being someone that's pretty hand tool focused. And I think you tend to see that with certain instruments, like a lot of classical instruments. So classical guitars, cellos, violins, things like that. You see a lot of uh, what I would call you see a lot of sort of hand craftsmanship in those particular instruments, at least the high end ones.
Hmm.
I feel like you don't see maybe quite as much of that in steel string acoustic guitars as well as ukuleles.
Hmm.
And those are instruments that I would really like to sort of be my focus. You still see hand craftsmanship, but you also see a lot of, machines doing thickness planing and thickness sanding and, big drum sanders and power, routers. And again,
Hmm.
nothing wrong with those, and there's nothing wrong with the way of um, that way of building. But when you're trying to do something or have a business, you have to have a niche, right?
Right.
And I think for me, that could be a potential way that I could have a little bit more of a niche, is being kind of focused on doing most stuff with hand tools.
Yep.
So um, one thing that I think I'd like to improve and that I think this program will help me improve is my hand tool efficiency. Um, so I think that a lot of times we view hand tool work as very rough and imprecise or
Mm-hmm.
as very slow. And I think it can be those things, but I think it can also be very efficient
Mm-hmm.
if you know when to work rough and fast,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know when to be precise. And I think that this apprenticeship is going to help me with that and help me develop skills to be able to accomplish some of the things that I do
Mm-hmm.
already, but do them faster.
Right.
And that's necessary if you're going to be doing something, as a business. You have to be efficient at what you're doing. I mean,
Right.
kind of like how you have to output music at a certain pace, right?
Yep. That's cool.
So
So you're officially in the program then?
I am. Oh, my clock's going to go off. Oh,
That's fine. I mean, it can be in the podcast. Remember, this is like casual conversation between bros.
yes. So I am officially in the program. Gearing up for that. Another reason why I couldn't do it before is there's like a required tool list, there's a required material list. I'm at a point in my sort of woodworking journey now where I have a lot of the tools already.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, there were a couple little things. There were a few things that I had to pick up. But a few years ago, I would not have been able to afford to enroll in the program, pay the tuition, and gear up with all the tools. Like, I just wasn't really in a position to do that. So
Right.
over time, I've acquired a lot of the tools that I need, and so I didn't really have to buy a lot of tools or anything. So yeah, I'm officially in the program and excited to get started.
Nice. Congrats, sir. That'll be cool. And you have a little bit of time to prepare before it gets busy for you.
Yeah, so they kind of give you some things that you can do, beforehand. Get your tools ready, get them sharp. Um, you can watch some of the videos and read some of the reading material.
Mm-hmm.
There's required reading material. There's a few like books that are required. Um, so it's not just about the skills. One of the sort of things that the program emphasizes is incorporating craft into your everyday life. And how can you do that consistently every day? And so that's another reason why I wanted to take this is, as you know, I'm the type of person sometimes I go in spurts where like
Yep.
really gung ho about things and then I kind of cool off and then I get really into it and I make a ton of progress and then I kind of cool off when I don't like have a ton of direction or a project to be working on or like that sort of thing. So I think this is going to also help me develop those good habits um, of just making progress every day.
Right. Yeah, that'll be good. I mean, um, investing time and money in what you're trying to do long term is never a bad idea. Um, you're not going to lose by doing this, you know?
Hmm.
You're only going to gain something, at the very least, something, right? But probably a
Hmm.
lot of things.
And
Um,
and I know it's not exactly luthier specific, but it's just this is something that still interests me a lot. And even if I was just doing it recreationally, I think I would have a lot of fun doing it. So I'm excited. I even get to chop down a tree. So for those of you who are listening, right now I'm holding a little hatchet that I'm fixing up. Um, the head was loose, and so I got it nice and tightened up the other day, and the head was kind of in rough shape. So it kind of looks funny because it's been painted a couple times. It looks like.
mhm.
So it was red, and then like someone spray painted it like a gold bronze-ish looking color
Interesting.
to make it look fancy, which I'm not actually really that worried about getting all the paint off. I don't really care. I just want it to be functional, and actually, I think it looks kind of. I kind of like the whole idea of wabi sabi or whatever, like things that have lived a life. They have a little bit of like a patina and character to them.
Right.
Um,
There's a story behind the tool.
yeah, so uh, I'm getting this ready. One of the parts of the course is it covers green woodworking, which, if you don't know what that is, it's like a lot of woodworkers who are building like nice high end furniture these days. They would go to a good quality lumber supplier and they would buy their boards that are already kiln dried, and they've reached a certain level of stability. And
Hmm.
but historically, that's not exactly the way things were done. I mean, sometimes, but oftentimes not. Especially just your local woodworker, who wasn't some like highbrow,
Hmm.
high society furniture maker or cabinet maker, or like making expensive musical instruments or something like that. Historically, like they used what was available, and a lot of times that meant that it was whatever tree they could cut down or get their hands on, or
Hmm.
had fallen down in a storm or whatever it was. So one of the assignments is actually to chop down with an axe a small tree and then process it and make some stuff out of it. So that assignment is optional because they understand that a lot of people aren't necessarily going to be able to have a tree to chop down. I don't even know for sure what I'm going to do for that. I reached out on like a Maryland Facebook, like a woodworking group on like for Maryland, and I was like, "Hey, odd request, but I'm taking this course. The Mortise and Tenon magazine is fairly well known, so I feel like people will maybe know what it is. But I explained like I'm taking this course. It's happening in this time frame. This is one of the things in the course. Um, I know it's an odd request to let a complete stranger come to your property and chop down a tree, but if there's anyone crazy enough to do that, or they maybe want a tree removed, or I can, whatever. I said that maybe I could provide some sort of exchange, like maybe I can make something for them, um, whatever. But we'll
Hmm.
see if I get many responses, if any. Maybe people will be too afraid to let
To
a
like
complete stranger
look
show up at their house with an axe.
look at this dude with that wears flannel and has long hair and has an axe. Just some
Just
rando in Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm just fulfilling stereotypes, I guess. But I would like to be able to do that because I'm trying to, get the most out of this course that I can. And the other thing
Um,
too, sorry,
I was just gonna say, no, I agree with that. You should double down on getting the most out of this that you can.
yeah. So trying to get the most out of it that I can. And the other thing too is I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before, but someday Abby and I, my wife, we'd like to maybe build our own timber frame home. And
Hmm.
timber frames are generally built with green wood. And so this is another way for me to maybe get a little experience working with that sort of timber. Um, so just another opportunity for me to learn. So,
Definitely, definitely, and I mean, it'll be applicable to your Luthery stuff, but um, I mean, the other thing to consider is flexibility is not a bad thing. If you can do Luthery and woodworking skills, like that's not bad, right? Like
mhm.
maybe there's a point in your career where you're doing both woodworking and Luthery until Luthery is a full-time thing. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like you're still doing something you love doing. Um, and like sometimes you have to go through those transition phases to get to the ultimate goal, you know? So having a class that teaches you more woodworking skills could make you that much
Mhm.
more diverse and flexible.
Well, and sometimes I've even wondered, well, I really like lutherie, but I also really like just woodworking in general. And I've even questioned myself, like, do I just want to be like a furniture maker maybe as well? Like, I'm still
Why
pretty,
not both? You
yeah.
know,
I mean, I guess wider skill set is always a good thing. Um, so I'm excited, and you know what? If I get to chop down a tree, just like how badass is that? You know, I went out and I chopped down a tree with an axe, man.
pretty badass. Like not a lot
Yeah.
of people can say that. Although it would be even more badass if you went to the tree that's like right outside your like patio and you chop that down. Or
I
your
don't think my apartment complex would be very happy about that,
yeah, but once the tree's down, there's nothing they can do about it except for fine you and try to sue you
and probably evict me. So
and probably evict you. But there's
yeah,
nothing they can do about putting the tree back up at least.
true, true.
And when they try to fine you, you could like take them to court and you could be like, "Man, you're living in the past. This is already done. There's nothing you can do about it anymore."
Is that how that works?
Besides, with the tree that I fell, I'm gonna make my own dollar bills so I can pay for the fine with the dollar bills I create from the tree I knocked down.
So counterfeiting. We're adding to the crimes here.
Yep.
Hmm.
Why not? You already started to dig that hole. You might as well dig a deeper hole.
All right. Well, yeah, heard it here, guys. I'm chopping down trees and digging holes.
Good job. I will call you if I ever need something like that. A hole dug and or a tree knocked down. But yeah, hopefully someone will bite on that. I mean, sometimes people are like totally cool with someone just showing up and I mean, it's kind of like a tree removal service, right? Like just take a tree out. Like the only thing that you'd have to be careful about is it'd have to be the right size tree because you don't want any liability for like a tree falling on someone's house or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I mean it's a small, like, what it calls for in the class is not like you chopping down a giant, like,
Big oak
obviously
tree.
that'd be like, yeah, that'd be crazy, but like, they just want to get you some experience with working with, like, what that entails if you were to do that yourself, and also like working with, green timbers.
Right. Right.
So that's the idea. And it also just gives you a better connection to like your raw materials, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's for people who work in some sort of medium, I think that that can be very, very valuable.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's really all that I have for updates. Um I think that's it. That's
I
it
think
for
it's
episode 45. Did you have anything else, Ethan?
nope.
Alrighty, that is it for episode number 45. Until next time, stay tuned.